A quick history. We began in 2014 as a parent support group, and we were initially with the Catholic school system because the system of special education in the Catholic schools is very different than the public school system. And at that time, we had a few parents that really needed some assistance, and someone reached out to us. I'm not going to name any names. Reached out to us to begin and to start on this journey. One of our board of directors is not present. She joined me in that effort to begin there, and then we had a wonderful alderwoman come into office after that, and we were able to have a place to meet, a very accessible place to meet, because initially, thank you to Annunciata School First for initially housing us, but now we have an accessible office to meet at, and we meet on a monthly basis there and bring in various representatives from different organizations around the city to assist our parents in whatever resources they may need. And right now, like I said, we have moved on from the support group sector with assistance like affiliates as the World Nations Rotary Club, among others. We plan to be so much more because this community deserves it, especially our children with special needs. Okay, so please continue this journey. Would you like to introduce everyone, your name? Or okay, we're going to start with naming ourselves, and then we'll bring up our special guest too.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Aguilar, and I am the Director of Development for Parents of Extraordinary Children. Thank you so much for being here.
Woohoo. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Amanda Montes, and I'm Community Outreach Board Member.
Margaret Cortez, I don't know if I said that in the beginning. I go by Roxy, President and CEO.
I'm Melanie Cuevas Camacho, and I'm Marketing.
Hi, my name is Gaudi Perez, and I'm the event coordinator.
Yes, Gaudi.
Hi, and I'm Myra Camarillo, and I'm the board secretary.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Luis Mendoza, and I'm a part of World's Nation Rotary Club, and an advocate, a strong advocate for parents of extraordinary children.
Yes.
How's everybody today? Mike Jimenez. It's good to see you all this evening. I'm the president of the World Nations Rotary Club. It's an honor to be here tonight.
Before I bring up our wonderful alderwoman, just to name a few others that are not here, Gabriela Garibay, as well as Maureen Zupan and Michelle Jacinto are a few of our other directors. Just wanted to acknowledge them, okay? And at this time, I'd like to bring up our wonderful alderwoman, Suzanne Garza. Thank you.
I am so proud to be here and be part of this organization. For those of you guys that don't really know me, I spent 23 years in Chicago Public Schools as a counselor. So I saw firsthand the disconnect between our diverse learners and what they're supposed to get and what they're not getting. So when I met Trixie, aka Roxy, it's a whole other story. But anyway, I jumped on this because this is a service that our ward so desperately needs, and what we together have accomplished. Not me. I'm going to give them all the credit. I just gave them the road to do it. We fought CPS. I don't want to say fight. We collaborated. We collaborated with Chicago Public Schools, and starting in September, we're going to have the first ever severe and profound cluster program at the new school. Oh, come on. A whoop whoop is a bit. I don't think you guys know how difficult that is. That is such a major accomplishment to have won that battle, because I just want to give a kind of a perspective of that. We did a survey on our own, and 19 kids from Gallisto and Adams, 19 kids were being bused out of the neighborhood to get programming. That's only 2 schools. We have 13. Wow. Now they don't have to be bused anymore. I mean, think about that. If your kid has to go all the way to Blaine, which is all the way past Wrigleyville, and the bus picks them up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, and 4 o'clock in the morning and you're 7, come on, that's crazy. So, you know what? Together we won that battle. And I am so proud of these men and these women that do and fight so hard for the kids, not just their own kid. They fight for every single kid across the city and in this ward to make sure that they get what they deserve. Because that's what education equality means. Sorry, I get choked up. Sorry. Want some wine?
That's always a good.
Wine's always good. Just saying. But I'm not kidding. I want to give you one quick stat. There was a word by word came out about the what we need to maintain our schools and what we need to make sure that if the roof is fixed and the tuck pointing and this and that and the other thing, ward by ward. And this was a state, what do you want? A state review. Thank you. Thank you very much. A state review that said who gets what. The 10th ward needed $389 million to fix all the schools on where they should be. We got $7 million, which we were funded by 5%. Marty Quinn, not anything against Marty Quinn, but that's Madigan's ward, needed $145,000 to fund his schools. He got $280 million. He was funded by 280%. Wow. That's inequality. That's inequality. So I look at this as a movement moving forward to make sure that people know that we have problems here too and that our kids deserve better. I have never been more proud of an organization. And I don't say this at every place I go. I really don't. I am so proud of what you guys have built and what you have accomplished and in such a short amount of time. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the next 4 years of my tenure. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much for all the support that you have given us throughout these years, and we have 4 more years. So,
Woohoo! All right.
All right. So now I would like to introduce to you our Rotary Club president from World Nations, Mr. Mike Jimenez. He's gonna give us a few words. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here representing Rotary. Anybody here familiar with Rotary? Raise your hand. Who says aye? Aye. All right, I got 1, 2 hands, 3. That's it. She doesn't count. She's one of our members. Just 2. That's it. Great. I get to brag about it. What is Rotary Club? Well, Rotary International, as we call it. It's an organization that was founded here in Chicago over 114 years ago. And it started here, downtown Chicago. And the reason why it started or got started was because some businessmen got together because they wanted to get to know each other. They came from a different state. They didn't know anyone. They wanted to do business with each other, network, just like we're doing here tonight. And they connected with one another. And they call themselves Rotarians or Rotary because they used to rotate from one office to another to get their meetings together. They were all lawyers. And 1 week is your turn, my turn is next week, so forth and so on. After that, they saw what the inconveniences were in the streets of Chicago downtown. And they saw that there was no public toilets, believe it or not. I'm talking about 114 years ago, okay?
Still the same, brother. Now they just have signs in their window, no public restroom.
That's true. That is true. That's a good point. So anyways, they're like, you know what, why don't we do, now that we're doing business amongst each other, why don't we do a service project for the community here downtown? So they decided to build something for them, for the public. And they did. It was a great project. After they built it, they got recognition by the city. And they're like, you know what if we keep on going and doing more projects in the community? And the projects just kept on going, and right now the organization is worldwide. Okay, it's over 1.2 million Rotarians around the world, and we service communities around the world that are in need. Because at the end of the day, Rotary is a humanitarian organization. We just came back last weekend from where? Egypt.
Oh, not yet.
We were in Egypt last week. And so again, our reach doesn't stop just within our communities. It goes beyond around the world. And that's the impact that we're doing. And it's a beautiful thing, okay? Helping Alice's organization and everyone's here. I mean, it's an amazing and extraordinary thing because we're able to impact the city of Chicago, our local city, where we have our heart. And we grew up here in the streets too, in one way or another. And it's very powerful for us to be able to grow up, and I'm a product of a public school, Chicago Public School. So to be able to give something back, or build a platform, a worldwide platform, to bring the benefit here to South Chicago, I mean, it's just a privilege to me, and it's an honor. And I hope our Rotary Club initiative and work doesn't stop with just this one project, because everything that we do, we always look at the long-term relationship so that we can continue impacting the communities around the world. So if anybody is interested in learning more about Rotary, please ask me tonight. If you guys want to be part of something huge, amazing, and impact communities around the world, talk to one of us. We'll give you information. But again, Ali, anything you need, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, anything you need, just ask.
We need $150,000.
Okay?
Not afraid, brother. I'm not afraid.
You know who
we
that
don't
is,
play
right?
either. That's why we've been in existence for over 114 years. We act local, but we impact worldwide. That's how we do things. And we have a lot of friendships that we have built throughout the years around the globe. So we can definitely bring some of those dollars over here in this community. So thank you so much. I hope I didn't take much of your time this evening, but it's an honor once again.
Thank you.
I look forward to getting some of that wine back there, and have a great fellowship with everyone. Thank you.
Just so you know, this program is being replicated in Mexico, Jalisco, Mexico. So there is a Rotary Club in Guadalajara that it's doing the exact same thing because of parents of extraordinary children. So yes. So and I want Luis to lead us on the 4-way test, just so you know a little bit more about the Rotary Club. Would you do that for me?
Absolutely.
So there it is. So you can read from here if you don't know it, but you can repeat after our
Number one, is it the truth? I'm sorry. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it benefit to all concerned?
So that's what is Rotary Club is all about. All these simple phrases. If you read it, it applies to all of us, right? And so you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Luis, if you want to do the pledge, absolutely.
Right. So we're gonna put out the flag on the screen, and we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please will do that.
Yeah, why not? I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, now the next item on our agenda, I'm gonna introduce our guest speaker of the night. If I ever find, you'll find me. All right. Well, I guess I lost the script. I'm gonna have to improvise.
It's okay, you run fam.
So, okay, Rosa, you're gonna have to improvise too. Thank you. So, well, I would like to start by telling you a little bit about how I envisioned when I was in college I went for psychology and child development, knowing that I needed to do something to help my own child with a disability. So when I was in college, I created this project that it's called Interprofessional Project. The university approved it, and we put together a pilot program, and we became with some 3-semester research where we develop a number of activities to provide social interaction to children with disabilities. So back then, I knew that I wanted to do something with my life and for these children. Then in 2015, this short story, I met with Trixie Roxy. She approached me, she saw me at Walmart, and I was pushing my daughter's stroller, and she came to me and talking to me like nonsense, and I was looking to her like, what do you want, lady? Don't you see that I'm shopping? And she's like, no, listen, I'm trying to put together this super group for children with disabilities, and then my lights light up. Like, I was like, awesome, I need to get to know this girl. So ever since we started talking and doing that, and I said, Roxy, this is what I have in mind. I created this program when I was in college with all of my college buddies. So that's where Russell comes in tonight, because Russell, it's a beautiful person that I met in college. He's one of my best friends from college, and he completed a dual degree, 2 bachelor's degrees at Illinois Tech, which is a scientific math and science place. You know, it's a really hardcore program. Not only that, after graduating from 2 degrees at IIT, he went to Valparaiso in Indiana and completed a master's degree in education, right?
Wow.
Okay. And I just want to let you know that Russell has a diagnosis with autism. If he was able to complete a dual degree and a master's degree with autism, it's because he had the support of his family, the community, and his friends. And I am very, very proud to introduce my best friend, Russell Hauser. Please, round of applause for him.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Ruth. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming here tonight. It truly is an honor to speak in front of you all. Let's just have another round of applause just for how amazing just this whole setup for this event is. And what great turnout. I imagine we come here from a wide variety of backgrounds. And I'm not just referring to just, we have a lot of people from the World Nations Rotary Club and Parents of Extraordinary Children, but I'm also referring to more about, perhaps there are some of you who came here as professionals, perhaps in special education, perhaps other disability services fields, where you are already working with somebody with a disability and you are really helping make sure that they are working towards their goals and their dreams. Perhaps some of you have come here as somebody who knows somebody personally, whether it's someone like a friend or a family member, and you continue to show them unconditional love and support along the way. And like myself, perhaps some of you even identify in this room as somebody who has a diagnosis of a disability. And so where my story comes in, when I was about just almost 3 years old, I would take a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine toys. Those were my, that was my favorite, that was my go-to. And so I just would just take a lot of those toys. I would just, line them up, maybe, hundreds of the different sorts of toys. They were really fun to me. when my parents would call out my name while I was playing with those toys, oftentimes I didn't respond to them. I didn't, turn back. And so my parents were wondering, did I have problems with my hearing? And so not long afterwards, then they had decided, okay, let's have him checked for his hearing. Let's have him go to a doctor, just make sure that, that's all right. And it turned out that my hearing was just fine, perhaps even a little bit, more, over, a little bit more. So that wasn't an issue there. But during that evaluation, though, the doctor had just wanted to really make sure that there were just, if there was anything else that was going on, whether it was medical or developmental. And so then that's when I went through some more testing, like, socialization, speech, and all of those things. And so later that same day that I was evaluated for my hearing, it didn't take long until a conclusion was made. And so then the doctor came out with me and said to my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hauser, your son is autistic. And so receiving such news for anybody, it's never easy to take. Let's be honest about that. And it was the same case for my parents as well. And so just after a period of silence and just reflecting, they vowed to make sure that I would receive the same opportunities as everyone else. Not only to be successful, but also that to make sure that I had a happy and fulfilling life. And I'm sure that is something we would all want for our children. And so then, not long afterwards, when I came into school, I started getting services from various professionals right away. Whether it would be occupational and physical therapists, speech-language pathologists, social workers, school psychologists, special education teachers, and so on. And so it was due to the advocacy of my parents, as well as just the support of all these professionals, as well as just some hard work and motivation on my part too, that I was able to achieve many of the goals that I've reached and that I'm standing in front of you speaking tonight. And so because of that, growing up, I had at first overcame a lot of obstacles that were associated with my diagnosis. Unfortunately, there were a couple of other issues that had taken their place, even though I did get a lot of that initial support. As I was entering adolescence, I started developing some other issues along the way. I would refer to this as, you can call it, say, a pseudo-disability. What I'm really referring to is just a lot of the negative feelings that could be internalized in relation to what it's like having a disability, what it's like being diagnosed. And so these were things like low self-esteem, low self-efficacy, lack of sense of motivation to improve one's standing in life, feeling self-stigma about your identity and your diagnosis. And so these were all things, and again, this wasn't any diagnosis, but again, I can tell you that from personal experience, these feelings, the effects they were still very real to me growing up. And so they can certainly be more of a detriment to one's personal development than one's own disability. And so it doesn't have to be this way, though. I just want to really stress that tonight. Whether it's you or your child or someone you're working with, they don't have to feel those emotions. They don't have to feel that way. They should feel comfortable just being themselves in their own skin. So don't let anyone else convince you otherwise. Just as stigma results from a lack of understanding and acceptance of individual differences and learning abilities, empowerment comes up when the opposite takes place, when those differences are brought to the light, and when those differences are accepted. Empowerment can come in many forms. One approach which I took, which really resonates with me personally, was when I had disclosed my diagnosis to a friend outside of my family for the very first time in my life. That was 10 years ago. But to this day, even after, like was mentioned before, after achieving 2 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, even in comparison to all of those things, that particular moment of disclosure, for me personally, was the most difficult decision I ever made in my life. Fortunately, that disclosure was positively received. And just after that day, the benefits were just tremendous. I felt just more relieved. I felt a weight just was lifted off of my shoulders. Just knowing that there are people out there who really care and support you. And so I found myself just leaving behind a lot of past emotions which used to hold me back for so long. It was such a wonderful feeling. And it's through these experiences that have ultimately just motivated me to work in just obtaining my education, working in human services fields. I'm working as a case manager for a nonprofit you may have heard, UCP Seguin of Greater Chicago. And I find the experience to be very rewarding. I've been working there for the past 2 years. I love it. Every day when I drive to work, I feel a sense of just empowerment, gratitude, just in knowing that I get to go to a job where I really get to help, not, just others now, just working towards their way for their personal development, towards their goals and their dreams. And it is just a wonderful feeling to be able to give back, to help provide those same opportunities which I was given growing up, full circle. Yep. So with that being said, I really want to stress this for all of you tonight. Whether you have a disability or not, you are worthy of being loved, of being accepted. You are worthy of being given the opportunity to reach towards your goals, your dreams, and your desires. Most of all, you are worthy of getting a life of satisfaction, of feeling happy. That's just one major takeaway that I want to leave with you all tonight. I also think it's quite fitting that we are all here. It's April, and as a lot of us know, it's also Autism Awareness Month. Personally, yes, I would call it Autism Acceptance Month instead, because when it comes to helping create an inclusive world that really just includes people of all abilities, learning differences, all backgrounds, awareness is just the very first step of so many other steps. If we really want to create a world that is truly inclusive for everyone and all of our children, for the next up and coming generation, we have to include acceptance. That will never change. And when it comes to creating a world of inclusion and acceptance, I truly believe that organizations like the Parents of Extraordinary Children and the World Nations Rotary Club, I truly believe organizations like these all across the country are taking steps in the right direction to help make sure that we are all going to live in that sort of world someday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mason. Thank you for your inspirational speech. Another round of applause. All right, so I hope you enjoy. And please, I invite you to take a look at the artwork that was created by the parents of extraordinary children, the lamps, and please enjoy the food, enjoy the drinks, and thank you all for being here. Thank you so much.